Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday. It's the 25th day of October, 2021. Happy Monday. I hope you're COVID-free today and healthy. I hope that your family and the needs of your family in terms of food and shelter, clothing, and health are being met. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field every day trying to save lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage for us to keep our places clean. And those that make deliveries doing menial tasks for our convenience. Very important task. Double blessings on those trying to deliver, trying to recover, trying to help, trying to save boys, girls, little boys, little girls, toddlers, babies, teenagers, and men and women from human trafficking, from sex slavery, which is being sponsored by rich and powerful people all over the world, from prostitution, and even worse, child prostitution, from child molestation, pedophilia, from pornography, which degrades the beauty of sex, and even worse, child pornography. Blessings upon those trying to help these poor, innocent victims. And double curses, may the Most High curse those that aid in their destruction. May they also meet their also double destruction. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. 600,000 men, women, children, and families in the United States alone, including veterans, and millions more around the world that today do not have a roof over their head, don't know where their next meal is coming from, so trying to survive. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. And also blessings upon those who even in small ways are trying to remember them and help them. There was 2 basketball games over the weekend. Very interesting situation. And you know what? I know I'm going to sound crazy, but I'm glad for what happened over the weekend. Yes, I'm glad for what happened over the weekend. First of all, I don't think any of us felt like the Knicks were going to go 82-0, right? That's number one. So they're going to lose some games. The disappointing thing, of course, is every championship team tends to beat the teams that you expect them to beat. Now, it doesn't always happen. And right now in the NBA, I think you would notice now the stacked teams were the Nets, right? Philly, right? The Lakers. And none of those teams are undefeated. These are the teams, these are so-called super teams, right? They're supposed to be stacked. They're the ones that everybody's saying, oh, these are the championship teams. None of them are undefeated right now. So everybody loses. Atlanta lost to Cleveland over the weekend. What am I saying? Well, actually, if you go back to the video that I did the last video before the weekend, and I told y'all at that time, I said, anybody can beat anybody on any given night in the NBA. These are the 300 best basketball players on planet Earth. Now, some teams, obviously, we talk about the Nets or Philly or the Lakers or the Suns or Utah or Denver or the Knicks. Some teams are obviously better than other teams. Obviously. And it's proven in their record, right? But you can't sleep on anybody. So the Knicks go into Orlando on Friday and they light it up. I mean, they light it up. Record number of threes for the New York Knicks, 24 threes they made. They put up over 50 threes. And they blew out the Magic on Friday night. Blew them out, okay? And then on Sunday, they slept on the Magic and got spanked. And I say to y'all, this is very good. You're going to say, Raw, you crazy. Yeah, I know you're going to say that because some of y'all just can't be positive about anything. But that's your problem, not mine. No, I'm saying this is good. Why? Okay. You're not going to have a Tom Thibodeau coach team that comes out and doesn't play defense. Okay? You're just not going to have that. And what I had to do after I saw the game Sunday, I had to go back and look at a replay of it because I had to examine again what I was thinking and what I was thinking. And see, when you're in the heat of the game, like all of us, Nick Nation, we in the heat of the moment, you know, we can see some things and sometimes my analysis could be off because of my emotions, right? So I had to relook at it, examine it more objectively. And there's some things I did see, you know, that came. I was blaming Julius mostly, you know, at the beginning. I was blaming him because I saw the moment in the second quarter about that he decided, you know, because Wagner was talking a lot of mess. The older Wagner boy, talking a lot of mess. Okay? And Cole Anthony came to play, right? But even though Cole Anthony came to play, I have to say Derrick Rose was meeting that intensity. Derrick Rose ended with 23 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. So he was meeting that intensity. That wasn't the big problem, really. No, the big problem. You cannot come out in the first quarter sleepwalking on defense. You just can't do it. Okay? And defensively, I can't blame one player. I saw Evan Fournier was weak on defense. He was getting torched up. RJ was missing assignments. This is the first quarter now. And of course, Julius was missing assignments. You cannot come out lackadaisical against any team in the NBA. And you have to, if you're the New York Knicks, there are 2 things, at least 3 things, let's put it this way, that made us successful over the last year. And that's going to make us successful going forward. Number 1, you have to play defense all the time. Against whoever. That defense has got to be tight. Now, I told y'all, last year and this year, the Knicks are slow starters. Teams that tend to focus on defense, and I use Miami as an example, those teams tend to start off slower. I don't know why that is, but it is. They tend to start off a little slower, and then they get better as the season goes on. They start picking up the schemes. They start getting in defensive flow. There is a defensive flow. And so, yes, the Knicks, you know, they really... You know, they weren't really challenged defensively the way, you know. So this one wake them up a little bit. That's what I'm saying because I'm 100% guarantee you. I wasn't there, but I'm 100% guarantee you. When they got in the locker room after the game, Tom Thibodeau was stressing that. Okay, because I can understand he could live with missed shots. He could live with bad shots. He could live with 4 shots. I mean, he'll get in you for that, but lackadaisical on the defense, that's not going to work. And I don't care if it's Evan $78 million Fournier or Kemba New York City point guard Walker or whoever or Julius Randle. You got to play some defense. Okay? So that's good in the sense that at least on the short term, when they play in Philly tomorrow, and they playing the Bulls are playing ball, and they playing the Bulls on Thursday. See, I told y'all 3 things before the year. Now, I'm Raw Hebrew will admit when he's wrong about something. When I'm wrong about something, I'll tell you. I'm not one of these that gotta be right and gotta have the last word. Some of y'all act like women like that, but that's okay. I said you gotta watch Indiana, Charlotte, and I wasn't that high in Chicago long term because I thought they needed a year to mesh. Well, Charlotte is what I thought they were going to be. They don't sleep on Charlotte. Without T.J. Warren and Karis LeVert, Indiana's going to struggle. My assumption was that you're going to have both of them healthy for the season. And I don't know when they coming back, but without those 2 guys, Indiana's not going to be a threat. But when you put those 2 guys in there with the rest of the crew that they got, Indiana's going to be tough. And I still stick with that. But I slept on Chicago. Chicago's balling on both sides of the ball. And speaking of ball, Lonzo's balling. Okay? Lonzo's balling. Now, I'm not regretting us not signing him. So some of y'all gonna come with that. Don't trip. No. But he's balling in the crew that he got. He's playing the defense you expect Lonzo Ball to play. He's hitting his open threes. He's hitting the open man. He's doing what he's supposed to do. I still don't think he's worth $80 million, but hey, they balling. Okay, they balling. We got them Thursday night. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you. The Knicks are not going to sleep on Philly, and they're not going to sleep on Chicago. I can tell you that right now. And this is what losing to Orlando does for us. Wakes us the heck up. Okay? That's number one. You cannot come out lackadaisical on defense against anybody in the NBA. You keep what happened. Okay? Orlando has no business beating the New York Knicks. But, again, this is the NBA. So, that's number one. Number two. The way the Knicks started off was good. Even though they were behind a lot in the first quarter, I like the way they started off, and I wish, offensively, I wish they'd have continued that. Like what you saw is Kemba hit a shot. Evan Fournier scored. RJ scored. Julius scored. It was nice balance. Okay. They weren't shooting well. RJ wasn't shooting well at all. Evan overall, he didn't look like he was shooting the ball very well either. And then he was 3 for 11. Yeah, he wasn't shooting the ball well. But you must establish the second principle that got us successful. First was the defense. Second, ball movement. You got to establish the ball movement. Remember, we're trying to get, 28, 30 assists a game. Well, the Knicks had 20 assists. They only had 20 assists for the game. That's not going to cut it. Okay. And the reason why is because that first quarter ball movement didn't continue. They, didn't continue. And that's where I blame it. I'm not going to put the whole thing on Julius, but that's partly Julius, because in the second quarter, he decided, forget the ball movement. I'm going to just take it over. And that's the bad thing. What he did at that point was ruin a flow that was already developing. You see, this is the thing. Julius is the number one option. Okay. He knows he's going to get his touches. He don't need to force anything. If you remember against the Celtics, I think he scored like 2 points at the half or something like that. End up with 21 for the game. He gonna get his, he gonna get his shots. And he usually knows that. But something happened. I think Wagner got in his head. And this is the problem with Julius. Somebody will get in his head and then he'll start to force things to prove to something. And that messes up the flow. And that partially stopped the ball movement. Because now him trying to take over freezes out everybody else. Okay. And that's all I'm going to say about Julius, because he is the number one option. So listen, it's like this. When I was growing up on Long Island back in the 60s and 70s, and I was with some kids and I was the oldest, whenever something went wrong, they would blame me. And that's the same with anybody. If y'all grew up at that time, first thing we say, you know better. You're the oldest. Right? They say, you know better. You're the oldest. Even if some little brat that was with you, whether it was your little brother or your little cousin, did something stupid. You know better. You're the oldest. Well, it's the same when you're the number one option. When you're the top dog, you're going to get praised when you win. You're going to get smacked when you lose. It's just, that goes with your territory. So with Julius, that was the problem in the second quarter. And I say it kind of ruined us going forward because it kind of threw everything off. And then Thibodeau was making bad decisions. I have to say, from the coaching side, he was trying to win. He always is. But, you sit Kemba Walker for a long time. You sit Obi for a long time. Obi only played 12 minutes. You got to figure something out. I understand he loves Taj Gibson, but Taj Gibson is 36 and he's going to do what he does. Okay. You trying to develop Obi Toppin. You got to be patient with him and you got to let him play that 20 minutes. He played 28 minutes one night, played 20 something minutes in the night, and all of a sudden he gets 12. I know he was sleepwalking on defense too. So you get up in his behind, and that's what Tom did on, I think it was Friday. He called timeout and he got all up in Obi. Now we was up 20 when he did that. See, but that's how you got to do it. Okay. So to me, that was a mistake. You got to play Obi, man. And you got to put that small ball lineup with Julius, Obi, D Rose, RJ, and either Evan Fournier or Quentin Grimes. You got to do that. But what Tom kept doing, he never played the small ball. He would have that crew out there with Mitchell Robinson or that crew out there with Taj Gibson. That's not small ball. And I understand Mitch Rob. You got to have Mitch Rob out there. But when you run in small ball, you can't. That's small ball. Okay. And to me, that hindered the whole effect of the small ball. Okay. So you got, All right, so that's another. The third thing, defense, ball movement, rebounding. Now, when I say rebounding, now overall, you look at the rebounding numbers, and you see the Knicks got 52 rebounds, and they got 57. So they out-rebounded us a little bit, but that wasn't the problem. That wasn't the problem. They were out-hustling us. They were getting the 50-50s, okay? And that was what bothered me. They were getting the 50-50s. The only persons that was out there getting us the 50-50s, Julius and Mitchell, really was. Okay. Julius, in that regard, he has 16 boards, 11 on the offensive side. That's getting the 50-50. Mitch Rob had 10. He had 10 boards. He had 4 on the offensive side. You got to get the 50-50. Derrick Rose, always hustling. He got 3. And that was your offensive rebounding output right there. RJ only had 1. Now, come on. I'm expecting more from RJ. He had a bad shooting night, 5 of 17. You're going to get that. But you got to be consistent. He's supposed to be the defensive stopper this year. He's got to come through. He was sleepwalking on defense. He got backdoored a couple of times. And then daggone Obi. Look, man. Mo Wagner, he ain't Larry Bird. He took Obi and flushed it on him. And I was glad he did it. You know what? Obi got to wake the heck up, man. This the MU in the league, man. So he out there trying to guard. Now, I could see if he was trying to guard, Jalen Suggs or Cole Anthony in space. Yeah, he gonna get beat, right? Because that's a mismatch. But come on, man. Mo Wagner. I was glad he got flushed on like that. I said, you know what? You need that. Wake up. That's what I'm saying. Tibbs got to keep him out there. Let him get his behind handed to him a little bit. He needs that. It's gonna be good for him. Let me tell you something. I'm expecting Obi. I hope he don't bury Obi on the bench now. That's my fear. He got to bring Obi out 20 minutes a game. Period. But Obi's got to be mentally ready to play the game. Okay. I think when Julius started going off on the island for himself, I think it threw everybody off a little bit, including Obi. Okay. But defensively, there is just no excuse. You cannot come out and get flushed on in the third or fourth quarter when you need a defensive stop by freaking Mo Wagner. So, like I said, I think the Knicks overall slept on Orlando. They did. And this is a good thing because now you're going to go to Philly. I can guarantee you they're not going to sleep on Philly. I can guarantee you they're not going to sleep on Chicago. They got to go to Chicago to play Chicago at the United Center. So I think they're going to be ready to play. Okay. And this is why I'm glad what happened this week. I'd rather it happen like that. Okay. So this is good. So now we got to go to Philly. We got Philly coming to the Garden tomorrow night. We ain't going to sleep on Philly. Okay. We got to come to play. The only two guys that came to play really yesterday was Mitchell Robinson and Derrick Rose. That was it. That was really it. Mitch Rob came to play and they should have been looking more for him on the lob threat. They had it available. There were at least 2 occasions or 3 where Julius was so focused on trying to score. Mitch Rob was open for a lob. All he had to do was throw the ball up and he just didn't do it. Okay. D-Rose looks for him. And also, if you notice, one thing I like to count every game. How many times during the course of a game do the Knicks get 3 straight stops? That's very important to me. If you're going to establish a defensive presence, you got to get stops, right? And if you're behind, that's how you come back. You got to get 3 stops, 3 or 4. The more, the better. But you got to get at least 3 in a row. And then you'll start to roll. You'll notice that if you watch it now, you'll start to roll. But what spoiled us on Friday night is them threes was dropping. We was raining threes. Okay. And we started depending on that. Let me tell you something. Even though Tibbs wants them to shoot more threes, our signature, what's going to cause us to go deep is defense. That's why Mitchell Robinson is important. If you was really paying attention, you saw the difference in what they looked like when Mitch Rob was on the court and when he wasn't on the court. Mitch Rob played 33 minutes yesterday. He got us scared. They tried to hurt him. And I already had some dude, 5 minutes after he hit the bench. Oh, see, Mitchell Robinson injury prone. Y'all need to chill a minute. If you're claiming to be Knicks fan, you need to not, just like last week, RJ didn't score in the first. RJ, see, I told you he stink. Some of y'all need to, get, maybe it's that brew you drinking, when you chilling on the couch that you start tripping like that. I don't know. But you need to chill a little bit. right? These are guys. Mitch Rob come back strong. That's what I'm saying. They wasn't looking for him though. See, also, we did not get 3 stops in a row. I don't think at any point during the course of the game. Also, one of the things we were getting in the first 2 games we did not get yesterday. Easy baskets. How do you get easy baskets? The guards got to keep their head up. See, if Julius is going to play point forward and try to dribble the ball up, he's got to keep his head up. He doesn't. He doesn't do that. That's the problem. In the first quarter, he was handing the ball to Kemba. He was handing the ball to D-Rose. That's what you got to do because they keep their head up and they would throw that home run ball. One of Mitchell's flushes was a lob from Kemba. Another one was a lob from D-Rose. The only basket Obi got was a lob because somebody kept their head up. You got to keep your head up. Okay. And so in the more easy baskets you get, the more efficient your offense becomes. Cause now you getting baskets that's like money in the bank right there. It's easy. Then you can focus on execution. So this one, and whenever you hear Julius Randle in the press conference after, this is the phrase he uses. He don't really always say it's on me, even though he should, but that's okay. But what you'll hear him say that means the same thing. It's synonymous with it's on me. What he'll say was, I'm throwing this one in the garbage. That's what he said. He said, I'm throwing this one in the garbage. We got to get ready for the next one. And what that means from watching him over the last 3 years, what that means is I'm going to focus on what I made mistakes on. I'm going to come out ready this next game. I'm not going to let this happen again next game. That's what that means. And that's good when he said that. I'm going to flush this one. I'm just going to throw this in the garbage. We're going to start over. Now, he's going to look at it. Obviously, Tibbs is not going to let you forget what you did Sunday. He is going to be in that film room with you today. He was studying the film, I'm sure, last night. Okay. And he going to be all in it. But, Manuel quickly was on a nut. And the thing is about Quick, he only played 12 minutes also. He was 0 for 4. He didn't even get that many shots up. See, I don't believe Manuel Quick is a point guard. I believe he's a natural 2 guard. He's trying to play the point, but he really is a 2 guard. And as a 2 guard, he's, obviously effective. He didn't get his game off. He was totally thrown off. He didn't get his game off last night. He didn't get his game off at all. Okay? Neither did Kemba. You got to let these guys. Kemba was 4 of 8, 2 of 5 from 3, but he just didn't get enough shots up. He didn't get enough time. And I'm saying D-Rose was, you want to close with D-Rose? Close with D-Rose. Okay, you can do that. But you got to put Kemba in the game, before that. He got to play more. Okay? And now I was looking at this and I'm saying, I'm at the point where you got to say, look, man, you got to play Kemba. You got to play him. You got to play, what he played last night? Kemba Walker played 19 minutes. That's kind of ridiculous. I want Obi to get 19, 20 minutes. Kemba's got to get 20, 30 minutes, man. 25, 30. Okay, you're going to start him. I come to the conclusion, listen, if his knees don't hold up, they just don't hold up. Then you just go to the next man up. But you got to play the man. He needs the time to gel. He's a vet. Okay, so, yeah. But I'm glad this happened. I'm glad because they're going to look at the film. They're going to come back. They're going to take Philly seriously, and they should be sharp on the defensive side of the basketball. I want to see 3 stops against Philly multiple times. That's the key. Okay. I want to see 3 stops. I don't know how they're going to shoot, if they're going to shoot the lights out with 3 or whatever. But if they can get 3 stops of multiple times, it don't matter. They'll be in the basketball game. You understand? And we'll have a chance to win. So that's what we got to focus on. It's got to come back to the defense. And even Julius said, they asked him and he said they gave up 36 points in the fourth quarter. And he said, that's unacceptable. He said, we can't give up 36 points in the fourth quarter. And he knows that. He knows that. And he's right. You can't give up 36 points. Look, the Knicks outscored Orlando 29-27 in the first quarter, 28-25 in the second. And we weren't even playing right yet. We weren't. Then we outscored them 23-22 in the third. And we were playing terrible. So, but you can't just turn on and turn off defense. It's got to be there all the time. Period. That's got to be a constant. Okay? And that's what we need to learn. And I'm sure Tom Thibodeau is going to put that into their minds. I am quite sure, which is why I'm glad we got him as our coach. So, yeah, like Julius said, put that in the garbage can, but really and truly, Remember, you can't sleep on anybody in the NBA. You will get your butt handed to you. Cleveland showed Atlanta that Saturday night. If you saw, I watched scouting that game. I saw the game. Cleveland was up for them just like Orlando was up for us. And Cleveland claimed to play. And Atlanta was taking them lightly, just like we did. See, so this is going to be interesting, y'all. It's going to be I love the parity in the NBA. Even though they have these super teams, there's a lot of parity in the NBA, man. There's a lot of good teams. There's a lot of good coaches. There's a lot of intensity going on, and it makes for a much better brand of basketball, in my opinion. So you can't sleep on anybody, and that's what makes the NBA so exciting to watch. So I'm glad this happened this past weekend. Taught the Knicks a lesson. Showed them what they got to do to be a top-tier team. And so defense has got to be a constant. Ball movement has got to be a constant. They got to aim for at least 28, 30 assists a game. And it's got to be constant. Okay, you can't sleep on that. All right? I think they will learn that, and I'm looking for the return of ball movement. I'm looking for the return of intense Tom Thibodeau-style defense on Tuesday night against Philly. Y'all have a good Monday. We're going to see what happens, but I want to see the injury report for Philly, and I want to see the injury report for New York to see who's going to be ready to play on Tuesday night, but we'll talk about that another time. In the meantime, please be safe out there. Shalom.